Hello, everyone. Let's have more news about the Lakers. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. The Los Angeles Lakers flamed out of the 2024-25 NBA playoffs, losing in the first round to the Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games. The Lakers made a huge splash at February's trade deadline by acquiring superstar guard Luka Doncic, but there were still clear improvements that had to be made in order to compete for a championship. The Lakers have started their 2025 offseason by filling 2 major holes, a starting center and more depth. The Lakers signed former first overall pick DeAndre Ayton to be their new starting center and have now officially signed free agent wing Jake LaRavia to give them some much-needed depth. LaRavia, 23, spent 3 seasons with the Memphis Grizzlies, where he became a key piece before getting traded to the Sacramento Kings in February. Now LaRavia finds a new opportunity with the big market Lakers. Jake is a high IQ two-way player with ideal skills for a JJ Redick basketball system. He's a disruptive defender who uses his size and physicality to create turnovers. Offensively, he can score at all 3 levels and has a knack for creating space for himself and his teammates, Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka said about the signing. LaRavia is an incredible all-around player who shines on both ends of the floor, but his career-high 42.3% shooting from beyond the arc last season certainly earned him some more attention in free agency. The Grizzlies were certainly missing a player of LaRavia's caliber down the stretch of the 2024-25 season, but the Lakers lucked out on getting him on the open market. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like.
From Rich Paul, LeBron's agent and the Clutch Sports CEO. I'm wondering what your interpretation of the statement of LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but values a realistic chance of winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. I was saying on Monday that if you had handed me that statement without information as to whether LeBron had opted in or out, I would have said, after reading that statement, he's opted out. But he has, in fact, with conjunction that statement, opted in. What's your 2 cents on all of this?
Well, my first reaction was it struck me that LeBron wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to collect the $53 million, which he's entitled to, which, by the way, he's worth 3 times that to the NBA and the Lakers organization. And he wants the Lakers to do right by him if he decides he wants to play somewhere else. Look, LeBron could have opted out and made $15 million per year anywhere. Could have made more in some situations.
15?
15, anywhere, right?
Okay.
Like a lot of teams don't have the financial flexibility of like a Brooklyn or a Detroit at one point. Some teams might have only been able to offer that kind of high exception that's available. So he could have done that, but he wants to get paid and he wants to collect the full amount of his contract. So I read that as him saying, or as his team saying, all right, yeah, we're going to opt in. We're a Laker right now. But in the weeks and months ahead, if this team doesn't look like it's going to compete for a championship, we are certainly hoping that Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka are collaborative with us and try to find a destination that LeBron would want to be at.
Okay, so this is I'm entitled to 50 some odd million. This is the only spot where I can get it that has a chance to win a championship, right now. But improve the team. Otherwise, I will then walk in your direction and say I want out, and hopefully you will collaborate. That's your read of that statement.
That was my read of that statement, yes.
Okay. So is DeAndre Ayton, in your estimation, being dropped out of the sky by the Portland Trailblazers buyout gods? Is that something that you think is a step in that direction?
I think it's a step in that direction. I think it's a small step in that direction. The Lakers, to me, right now are an incomplete on their offseason because I do think there's more to come with the Lakers. They've got some expiring contracts on their roster that they can deal. They've got some draft capital that they can still deal. Remember, they rescinded that deal for Dalton Connect at the trade deadline last year. They still have the assets that were part of that trade, and they've got Austin Reeves. If they, and Austin Reeves, I think, has the potential to be an all-star, but there is some overlap in the skill set of Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. So I think there's still more to come with the Lakers, but thus far, the offseason, I think, has been underwhelming. You're basically flipping Dorian Finney-Smith for Jake LaRavia. With all respect to Jake LaRavia, that is a step back. Jake LaRavia is a backup type of player. Dorian Finney-Smith has proven he is a starting caliber player. You bring in DeAndre Ayton. I would agree with people that would say that DeAndre Ayton was the most talented of the crop of free agent centers that was out there. That doesn't mean he's the best fit. Like, DeAndre Ayton has been a lob threat sort of in Phoenix when he played with Chris Paul, but DeAndre Ayton is primarily a post scorer. Like, he wants the ball in his hands. That was kind of what caused some of the friction with him and the former Phoenix Suns coaching staff there. So you're bringing in a low post scorer to play with LeBron and with Luka, who are guys that are ball dominant players. I don't think it's a round peg, round hole type of fit. I've seen some of the Lakers now have the number 1 and number 3 pick in the 2018 draft. I love that. I do love that. But it's, to me, it's going to be an interesting fit with a guy that plays a way that I don't think complements LeBron and Luka in the same way a Clint Capella would complement them, more of a rim running type of guy. Brook Lopez, a 3-point shooter who's used to being the 3rd or 4th banana on a winning team. Like, those two players to me would have been better natural fits.
Okay. So, but Lopez signed with the Clippers.
Which is weird, man. Like, he got basically a 1-year deal with the Clippers. You're letting, I don't like that. That felt like the one that got away for the Lakers. Like, they seemed focused on getting the replacement for Finney-Smith and LaRavia. I feel like LaRavia would have been out there or available if you're going to offer him that type of money. I thought a center should have been a priority, and Lopez to me just makes a lot of sense. Like,
but he's shooting threes, though, right? I mean, don't you need, if you're the Lakers, you need somebody who's stationed down low, certainly. You think? I don't know. I mean, you tell me.
No, I mean, I think you want as much floor spacing as you can get. When you have two guys that operate in space as well as any two players in the NBA, getting more shooting, getting more floor spacing has got to be a priority. The Lakers, look, they emphasized this last season under J.J. Redick, getting their three-point attempts up, providing LeBron at that point with more shooters. Brook Lopez can do that. Like, he's a depreciating player. He's in his late 30s right now, but I like the fit of Brook Lopez in L.A. more than I like the.
What's going on, Jonathan? What is this thing on?
This is definitely on.
You're in vacay mode.
What's up, Jonathan?
I was wondering, take out the team, the NBA team that you root for. I'm a Celtics fan. Take that out of the discussion, just based on what you think would be good for the stories for the NBA. Is it not obvious that LeBron needs to go to Cleveland, win a championship, and end his career there?
That's what I'm saying.
The East is weak. I'm a Celtics fan. We're not going to be good this year. He needs to go to Cleveland, win a championship, retire, and that ends it. Isn't that the only possible option? Because he's not going to win one in L.A.
I said
First of all, I guess. I mean, if you're from Ohio. You know what I mean?
It's perfect for them.
If you're New York, what better way is than to go to New York, do it in the Mecca, and get the Knicks in the Canyon of Heroes? I mean, and suddenly he's a guy that that there's a meal that he won't ever purchase again.
Katz's Deli?
In New York, Miami, hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, or I guess home state of Ohio. And here in Los Angeles. I mean, to be very honest with you, Jonathan, that's what I'm thinking.
But you're
go
a
to the
Knicks
Knicks.
fan, so you would think that.
Well, I mean, I guess it's storybook, right? That the kid from Akron, who actually did one for Cleveland before he retires, goes back to Cleveland. But, that's my 2 cents on it, and I appreciate the call and the food for thought, Jonathan. But DeAndre Ayton is coming. Like, that business with it is the Dodgers cap an indication of his thoughts, but yeah.
What's happening?
No, I know that.
Yeah.
And so
2-year deal.
They now have the 1st and 3rd overall picks of the 2018 NBA draft?
This is now the 9th first overall pick that LeBron has played with?
Is that right? And maybe, he'll take Spike Zempic, but for his attitude.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
Luka's got on Spike Zempic for the Mavericks. People who are like, you drink too much. You're not taking care of your body.
He's European.
You're always falling apart at the end of the season. Take care of your body now. You know? So he's on Spike Zempic. He looks great. Maybe DeAndre Ayton can take, what like Moda Zempic?
Add to the Zempic.
Added to the Zempic?
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. That's a long. I mean, we're spitballing here for RES Consulting.
A lot of times these drugs don't make any sense.
Because that's the whole business. It's just like, in the same way that when Luka is done with the Mavericks, or the Mavericks are done with him, it's just like, there were concerns about signing him to the Supermax contract because of his body shape.
Conditioning.
To use an old ESPN2 phrase. Body shaping. You're not going to see Luka on body shaping. In 1997 on ESPN2 at 10:30 in the morning.
Luka and Kiana Tom.
I'm going to say your name one more time. Corey Everson.
Flex appeal.
And you're hearing, Ayton had a terrible attitude, complained when he was taken out of games,
slam chairs,
late for flights, late for meetings.
Yeah. Brockman does that when we go to break sometimes, so that he slams chairs.
So hear me out.
Like my take?
Let's say DeAndre Ayton plays to his capabilities.
Okay.
Can we just do this right?
Sure.
Him, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, Luka, year 2 of Connect. Where else am I going here? Add another player here or there.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not the top. Who am I?
I pick up what you're putting
Bronny.
down.
Stop it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I'm putting together a team that last year
that's a top 6 in the West.
Right. Like that's a playoff team.
Sure.
And we've seen playoff teams catch fire in a way.
They're not in the play-in. They're a firm top 6.
And let's see a Spike Zempic Luka, right? Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what Redick is in year 2. Let's see what Luka's entire year in the system looks like.
Full year, yeah.
I mean, Ayton dropped out of the contractual buyout heavens. Mm-hmm. What did you say about a report about the Mavericks before the show? You saying something along the lines of, what was this?
Oh, McMenamin. Dave was on
Dave?
Dave was on the
the Los Angeles Lakers always find a way to stay in the news. Then again, the same can be said about LeBron James. Most NBA observers figured the Lakers would undergo a fairly predictable offseason. Armed with 2 megastars in Luka Doncic and James, the plan for Los Angeles all along was to snag a starting center. The Lakers have done that by signing DeAndre Ayton. But suddenly, a much more pressing issue has arisen. James might be on his way out of town. In the hours after James picked up his $52.6 million player option for 2025-26, James's agent Clutch Sports Group's Rich Paul released the following odd statement, per The Athletic. LeBron knows the Lakers are building for the future, and he also wants to compete for championships. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. He wants to make every season he has left count, and the Lakers understand that, are supportive, and want what's best for him. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with the Lakers. Not surprisingly, the NBA media universe erupted with speculation in response to Paul's cryptic remarks. Trade machines went wild, and the Athletic's Fred Katz even proposed 5 potential landing spots for James. Among Katz's fits for James, the New York Knicks. Katz argued that while the Knicks could construct various types of offers for James, a straight-up swap for Karl Anthony Towns would make the most sense. New York owes Towns $110 million over the next 2 seasons, Katz wrote. The 5-time All-Star has a $61 million player option for 2027-28. Meanwhile, the Knicks are at risk of climbing into the second apron next season. And you, fan, what do you think about Karl Anthony Towns' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.